My name is Barry Martin Snyder, and our website is luminousself.com. I just came out of a session with someone that really brought to mind one of the most significant and precious parts of this journey, which is when we hit the divine longing for God. For many it comes and goes, but there does come this time. It's a pivotal moment where maybe we've suffered enough and we've seen that the source of our suffering is this separate self, and we know that the only answer is our oneness with God. When we know there's no place else to look for what we're longing for, when we've looked here and there and everywhere in this world, and still that deep emptiness within is not filled, what is left is God. The person in this session was given an experience in a weekend workshop where God the Father came to her, and she was suffused with the divine presence of the Father, and it lifted her into a state that made an amazing, deep impression on her. Consciously or unconsciously, she realized this was something she had longed for so deeply. And for a few days, this communion stayed. But then it faded away. And she went through a period of struggle with it, just wanting to grasp for it, wanting to get it back. The preciousness of it lost. Once we found the only thing that will fulfill that longing, there's no turning back. It's all we want. But leave us, it must. For we could not fully stay with and embody the fullness of the divine presence immediately. But we are touched by it. And we are given an experience which becomes the focal point for our journey. And most go through the struggle, the trying to claw back to that experience. And that's normal. We want it back. It's all we've ever wanted, and we found it. But go it will, and go it must. For a number of reasons. The first is, we're not ready to embody it fully. We're not ready to have it there all the time. There's more work to be done. There's more to be purified so that the divine can have a home in us. And so more must come to the surface that's unlike the divine. And we learn this. We realize that we were gifted, but it had to go for a while. What is there, if we look below that wanting it back so badly, is sadness and grief. It's always been there, that sadness and grief. But it's one that few human souls come in contact with. But it's the sadness and grief that goes back to the original separation. It is a grief so deep and so painful that most cannot go near it. For what is most precious of all was lost. And it set us on lifetimes after lifetimes of searching in our sleep state to find it in this world. Lifetime after lifetime. And then we come to that moment when we realize intuitively what we were always looking for is within us, is that divine communion. But again, it is important that it went away, for it's part of the divine dance. God wants to come into us gradually and slowly over time so it can experience all of our humanness, because our humanness is precious. God created us a soul that allowed us to embody so that it could experience what it's like to be human. It's our greatest gift to God, is our humanness. It's our prasad to God. Prasad being that term that comes out of the Vedic tradition where we give bits of food to the effigies of God, the murtis, the divine statues, as our offering. But what God wants as our prasad is to fully experience an intimacy with ourselves, with our souls, of whatever it is, whether it being ecstatic communion or the deepest of pain, of fear, of grief, of suffering. That's our prasad. It is not beside the point. It is not to be run from. It's to breathe it and feel it and be with it and offer it to God as prasad. And when we sit in silence, it's to feel that divine longing. Once we know, it will never leave. For we have found what we've been longing for forever. And it's to feel that longing. Deeply, deeply feel it. For it's opening up our heart and soul to what is most important. And then it is to turn towards God and say, God, this longing is so deep. Feel this longing that I have for you. You are all that I want. Nothing but you will satisfy this longing. Nothing of all this world can offer will do it. Please come to me. Fulfill this longing with your presence. I only want union with you. And it is this prayer, it is this longing offered up as prasad that forms the basis for the rapid path home. For then we surrender ourselves to God, because God knows exactly how to bring us into that communion. And once we have done this, everything that we experience is our path home to that communion. Surely more layers of our separate self-sense and all of its attachment, identification, all of its unfelt feelings, its limiting beliefs, all these will come to the surface so they can be sloughed off, redeemed, given back to God as prasad. And God will come into these and alchemically transform them into divine experience, divine substance. This is the journey. Once we have come to this point, we are literally on the fast path home. There is nothing more that's needed than this when we really understand this. God is now in charge. God will bring us into that communion we long for more than anything. If you have felt this longing, remember it. Come back to it. And certainly it will come back even if you forget it, because it is the one call in our hearts that is eternal. It may be buried under layers of forgetting, but it is there, and it is God's will that we return. And in time, so it must be. I join you today in that calling, in that longing. And I send that out with you to all souls to remember the one thing they want more than anything, what they long for. Remember. Remember, dear brothers and sisters, what you long for. Remember and return to that longing, to that deep request that it be fulfilled directly from the One. Much love and many blessings.